In this episode of Need for Speed Most Wanted Modding, we'll take a look at Ace of Squares 3's Bentley Speed 8. This was personally requested by LTL Gamer, and Ace of Squares 3 kind of wanted me to drive the car anyways, for a reason I will get into later, which might surprise you a little bit. So basically, this Bentley Speed 8, for those who don't know, was a former Le Mans GTP car that raced as a part of a program from 2001 to 2003 for Bentley. It originally was known as the EXP Speed 8 and had some visual differences that raced in 2001 and 2002, where both times the car would win in its class, but would come behind, the works-driven Audi R8s for the LMP in the LMP 900 class, I think it was. So, in 2003, when there were no works Audi cars at all, Bentley was able to take their revised Speed 8 that they had worked on and drove it all the way to victory, pretty much dominating much of the race the entire time in the 2003 24 Hours of Le Mans. It was the only time between the period, I believe, of 2000 to 2008, I want to say, that an Audi did not win overall at Le Mans. And of course, the next time that would happen would be 2009 when Peugeot won overall with the 908, and then the next two times that happened, 2015 and 2016, where Porsche won overall with the 919. But yeah, this has always been a very interesting little prototype Le Mans car to be one of the nicest looking ones. I love the paint job. I love the design, and there's actually two different variants of it. Because the modder actually decided to put both numbers that ran in 2003. Of course, the Le Mans winning number 7 that was driven by Ronaldo Capallo, Tom Christensen, and Guy Smith, and the number 8 that was driven by Mark Blundell, David Brabham, and Johnny Herbert. This was the number 8, what came second, 2 laps behind the number 7. So yeah, it was still a 1-2 finish though, and because it's called Speed 8, I'm going to go with the number 8 because it kind of works better. Not much else you can do to it. You actually can remove the back spoiler if you choose another spoiler, so if you, for whatever reason, you don't like the spoiler, you can take that off. I'm not going to do that because I actually like having it. And to get an idea of how this car drives, we'll do about roughly 2 laps of Hastings. And we'll just have one random AI, aka the unlucky bastard who has to go up against me in this. Oh god. It's a Vauxhall Monaro VXR that looks like a race machine. Because that body kit, doesn't look as bad in the front. But yeah, that purple looks off, but the wing kind of adds to no. So yeah, I thought I'd choose Hastings to drive a track. I mean, like I said, when I was going to do this new iteration of driving mods and Most Wanted, I kind of want to just do just about nearly anything that's available in the game, with maybe the exception of the drag events, unless it's a drag-oriented design, unless it's basically a car that looks like a drag car. The reason I don't really want to do that is because drag events are, most people unanimously consider to be the worst thing in the game, so it's Oh hey, look at that! That Monaro's already spitting out over there. I don't know how the guy who's driving it, or Patrick, has managed to do that. But hey, AI sometimes. So yeah, thought I'd do Hastings because Hastings to a lot of people is like the Nürburgring of Most Wanted in a way. I mean, I don't consider it the Nürburgring of Most Wanted. To me, that would be the NFS World Loop, because since it kind of loops around the entire area of the map. But I can see where a lot of people would consider this to be like the Hastings. I would consider this the next closest thing to it, at least, because it's decently lengthy. I mean, the lap can, in most cars in this game, will take you around 3 to 4 minutes. I mean, I did some testing earlier. This car took me roughly just over 3 minutes to do a lap. But yeah. And that's also keeping in mind that this car is very, very fast. As you can see, it gets up to speed very easily. I've not even hit the nitrous once, and I've already hit the car's top speed of 258 miles an hour for this mod, so it's a very decent top speed. Handling-wise, it's pretty good. It's nice and stable. Not overly grippy or anything, but, does a fairly good job. So, it does work quite well. But yeah, I thought just another reason I thought I'd do Hastings is because I know a couple people who watch my videos who would probably enjoy seeing the fact that I'm driving around Hastings. Game whiz. Of course, I'm imagining some of you guys might like it too, for any of you who have played Most Wanted or have played Need for Speed World, because Hastings was also in World. So, but yeah, basically, I think this would. I know this isn't the first prototype Le Mans car I've driven. I've driven at least others like the Toyota GT1, Audi R8, Peugeot 908. I'm trying to remember what other ones I've driven at this point. I don't even remember. It's been a while since I started doing these videos. That you tend to forget. You tend to forget about these kind of things. So, you know. But I'll get to the one thing I was mentioning about at the end, and as just like a little bit of a bonus throw-in. But yeah, basically though, brain fart, I guess. I was thinking of trying to say something, and then I forgot about it. Oh boy. So, oh yeah, one other thing I should mention. For those of you who know that I've been using the Need for Speed Most Wanted extra options videos for a long time. I've been very much supportive of the mod itself because of just all the extra features that, like, all the ways it expands the game to allow you to do more. It's just really cool. And basically, the extra options has recently been getting some updates. They're still finalizing some translations and README stuff, and then once that's done, they'll have a pre-built version. But they do have the source code variant of it available on their on the GitHub. And you can, if you know how to build an .asi, you can use the source code to do just that. Basically, though, it's the various things have now been added, such as the ability to use the debug car customized screen like you could with the Carbon. That's how I did it for some of those later, like, unreleased models that I did for the Carbon video. So there's that. There's also other things too, like you can change the amount of unique components. So what that basically means is the kind of make of car that will show up. So if you set it to 1, every car that shows up will be a certain model. Say, for example, an Audi TT or a Lotus Elise. All 3 of the components will be the same. You, of course, can go beyond that, but unfortunately, the ghosting issue is still prevalent. We don't know. We don't know of a fix for that yet. But you know, if we do find a fix, we'll probably, you know, include it. But you know, it is what it is right now. Anyways, bounty has been fixed. Police helicopters now display a message when they're disabled, and you get plentiful more bounty. You also get some. You can also get some bounty now on heat level 10 pursuits, which wasn't possible before because it would only show as 0. But now you actually can get boosts. You can change the amount of cash you start with at the beginning of a career mode. You can do the prologue races at any time in the game. So if you ever want to go back to them and drive them, that's now possible. You can now access a debug camera, which allows you to kind of, if you just press he's kind of so far behind. I'll show that off real quickly now. If you press backspace, you can rotate a camera around and kind of get your own, like, little cool shots. Basically, you use the numpad to kind of adjust it around like this. Like 1 and 7 will go up and down. 3 would rotate the camera up, and 9 is supposed to go down. We're rotating it up like this, but I can't get it to work, and all there he is going past because I'm sitting here doing this. And then you can use 8 up, 4 left, 2 down, and 6 right. And then 0 and we'll spin it like that. Anyways, that's enough of me showing that off. Let's see if I can actually catch this guy. So yeah, that I just wanted to show that because that's now a thing you can do as well, which is pretty damn cool. Oh, I can never catch him. He's barely fucking moving there. Oh, and there's some rain. But basically, though, you can. That's just some of the new features you can do. You can also there's also now a way to force enable Black Edition. So it no longer has a check to see if it's a Black Edition or not. So because it no longer does that check, it means that any version of the game can now be a Black Edition. So you don't need to get a specific file to do that. You can now just do that through the extra options, which is nice. This is all these nice little features that you can do that always kind of adds to it. And you know, development is still continuing to try to get as much as we can out of this game, until there's no more extra options to be found. Just until, like, and who knows, maybe there might be more things done to it to kind of still continue to expand on it. Jesus Christ, I saw that back there. But yeah, I would really advise looking into it. If you do not have extra options, do yourself a favor. I highly recommend it. There's just all the little features you can do, like going up to heat level 10, disabling opponents for doing races, which is why it was a lot easier for me to do all those timed runs around Petersburg for so long. Just all this kind of stuff. You can remove the barriers. You can remove the little construction work at the old bridge. So you can drive it to the old bridge whenever you want. There's all these different things that you can do that really adds to it. And so if you do not have the extra options, I would seriously advise to get it, because it's very well worth it. Anyways, now you may be asking, why am I going back to Petersburg here? Well, Ace of Squares 3, when he made this card mod, he actually, in the description of the mod, on both NFS cards and GTR cards, because he posts his mods on both sites, he actually gave me a shout out for this car mod, because at the time when he released it, I was still doing these things that you've been seeing here for so long. So just as a little way of still acknowledging the fact that that was originally something that he had mentioned in the description, because of the fact that it was there, in order to honor it, I am going to do some runs around here just to see exactly what I would have been able to achieve with the Speed 8. Now, I'm not going to bother trying to get the leaderboard or stuff up or anything. I will update it, so I will leave it in the description if you want to see where exactly the Speed 8 landed. Sorry, I had to fix my headphones there. They're kind of getting into a bit of an awkward angle on my head. But yeah, I will leave it. I will leave it in the description if you want to see where exactly the Speed 8 finished. So definitely, if you want to know, definitely check that out. Ace of Squares 3 is a more recent modder for the game, and he's honestly been doing some really damn good mods. I mean, this Speed 8 looks amazing, just very well detailed. The texture quality is very high. I like the sound of the car. It's got that whining effect that the M3 GTR has. Although it kind of has that slight A3/TT. It actually sounds like the Clio, in many ways, like a slightly different pitched or toned version of it. It's quite nice, because I don't think any car I've driven in this series so far has even, sound like this. So it's quite something I like, to say the least. But yeah, basically though, he's been making a whole bunch of other ones. He's even got a Porsche 919, which I might do at some point. And he was, I believe, he was also the guy who did the Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. I think he said he found that somewhere. I can't remember, but there was. But yeah, the Bugatti Vision GT that thing is insanely well detailed. Like, it's crazy how much detail it is. So you would probably need a good computer for that one. I mean, I'm being surprised if you needed a good computer just for this Speed 8 one right here, because this is very well detailed as well. But yeah, it's just kind of cool to see these things sometimes. Okay, I probably braked way too slow there. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting how these days modding for Need for Speed Most Wanted is honestly the best it's ever been. More people are starting to get into it and making their own mods and doing very well jobs of it. And then of course these days we've got a whole bunch of other things now. We've got the extra options. We've got the Most Wanted Online, which is something that's been being worked on for quite some time now. We've got all these different little things that have really expanded what this game had modding wise. Okay, yeah. Fuck. I was kind of hoping to get a good proper lap there, but you know what? I'll probably just do it off screen, and then I'll put it in the thing exactly what the time was. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show it me driving the car around anyways. But yeah, if they very solid lap, you're looking at sub 50 seconds anyway. So we can go with that. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. So if you want to check out this mod, you can download it in the description down below, as well as checking out all the other cars that have currently been requested, as well as the leaderboard if you want to see what time I ended up getting with this car to see where exactly it landed. So definitely check that stuff out. You can also, of course, check my description if you want to follow me on Twitter, if you want to follow me on Twitch, if you want to donate to my Patreon, if you want to join my forum boards, or if you want to submit a video submission for highlight reel. That's all. That can all be found down below. So if you want to check any of those out, that's where you can find them. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, take care.